Well, first up tonight, Ghana has an opportunity in the coming decades to accelerate economic transformation and create more and better jobs after navigating the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's a revelation from the World Bank's latest economic analysis for the country. The report said Ghana can achieve this through fostering greater global integration, technological transformation, macroeconomic stability, and financial sector development. The World Bank's latest economic analysis themed Country Economic Memorandum, Ghana Rising, Accelerating Economic Transformation and Creating Higher Quality Jobs. According to the report, Ghana has all it takes to continue being an economic development star if it takes the right steps to nurture growth and job creation. Listen to World Bank's Country Director Pierre Laporte.
This report comes at a particularly critical time. The COVID-19 pandemic, as we all know, has led to reversals in development gains throughout the world, and its impact on Ghana has been no exception. Despite relatively low infection rates, the 2022 budget, recently presented by the Minister of Finance, charts an ambitious course to support job creation in a fiscally sustainable manner. Our hope is that this report can support this vision with evidence-based policy analysis. As Ghana looks at how to promote a more inclusive and resilient recovery post-COVID pandemic, this report provides important recommendations for how economic transformation and leveraging enablers of growth can drive long-term growth, boost productivity, and meet the country's job challenges in an inclusive way.
Speaking at the launch of the report, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta divulged that government is implementing some projects in the sum of $400 million, which would create an estimated 300,000 jobs.
I would like to also thank the World Bank for supporting us in being able to capitalize the Development Bank of Ghana. It was against a trend of
the policy. We are rather surprised at the reaction from our colleagues.
Quality under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the African Organization for Standardization has been tasked to develop a single quality policy on the continent. He spoke at the 65th ASO Council meeting held in Accra.
By and large, it's important that we all stick to one quality policy, come up with one standard document, and ensure that as far as AFCFTA is concerned, we're not going to leave any country out, or we're not going to leave any holes within the general supply chain for countries to suffer. And that responsibility for me would lie on the heads of the ASO, or the African Standardization Organization, which is having its council meeting, the 65th council meeting here today, the reason why we're here. I would like to entreat them to ensure that before they leave this meeting, before they complete whatever discussions that they're going to have, they should ensure that a charter to guide every African country, all African countries, to come up with one, composite document as far as standardization is concerned, is arrived at before they leave this meeting. And I know that with the caliber of people in there and the interest shown by most African countries, head of states, I'm sure that they're going to do that.
Meanwhile, Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, has expressed commitment to ensuring standards under the pact.
Be aware that ASO has signed up to lead standards for the AFCFTA, and that if AFCFTA succeeds, ASO will succeed. If ASO succeeds, Africa will succeed. So for ASO, the success of AFCFTA is not negotiable.
All right, welcome back to Business Live. Some programming alert for you tonight. Joy Business Social returns on our social media platforms at the top of the hour. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the 2022 budget, what's in it for the banking sector, and you're going to have Roland Akafia, Head of Business Strategy at UMB, as the guest. You want to make a date tonight. That's at 6 across our social media platforms. Joy Business Social on the 2022 budget. Now, the informal economy that is neither taxed nor monitored by any form of government is one that contributes to the Ghanaian economy, but it appears workers of that sector have little or no education with respect to pension plans. James Ishen brings us this report.
So 80% of the workforce in the country is employed by the informal sector, but there's a sector that has been characterized by job insecurity, low wages. But most of these workers in the informal sector seem to have little or no idea about pensions plans. We'll be speaking to some of these workers in the informal sector as well as the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to know what's the way forward as an authority as to whether they have a plan to help these informal sector to incorporate them into their day-to-day activity. Do you have any pension plan?
I have it because I've traveled around the world. I've got more insights on how important these things are. So it's very important to me. So if we begin to hammer on pension plans, people will begin to understand the need for pension plans.
As a matter of fact, the God who created us is the God of planning. Why? He first and foremost made the God of Eden before Adam and Eve were created. And here we are, superstition and other stuff. Oh, but something that you can do, God won't do for you. If you don't use your brain to think about your tomorrow, you are not going to blame God. So those who are preachers, yes, I believe in God. Tomorrow is in the hands of God. But please, don't leave everything in the hands of God. Not at all. Why are you using your brain for? He created us in his own image to be planners. So let us think and plan about tomorrow.
Why Jane kakra pension what is saying?
Yankasa muno ahano moabi ema yankasa ye drivers no aye nimu ye hono say week bia no obia.
I don't contribute anything to any company as pension contribution, but as drivers, when there is an unforeseen circumstance, we contribute some monies together to help the individual.
Adwuma na we went to me amfa dwen nsie sika bi dachi bia ebe how dachi.
Many are of the view that pensions are meant for the formal sector, but the National Pensions Regulatory Authority says it has rolled out plans to sensitize Ghanaians on pensions.
Indeed, I wouldn't even say it is the most important, but it is one of the most important areas of our functions. That is to bring pension to the informal sector of the society. You're right, our society is largely informal, and so to have a pension system which does not cover the informal sector will not be adequate at all. And so the act under which we act, which is Act 76, is the National Pensions Act, gives room for informal sector workers to participate in pensions, even to the extent of about 35% of their income into pensions tax-free. And that is one area that as regulators we are concentrating, because with the formal sector it's mandatory anyway, so that will be done as a matter of course. But the informal sector is voluntary, and therefore it requires a lot of education and sensitization. And there's a misconception out there, because up until 2010, pension was only for the formal sector. So that misconception has really sunk deep into the consciousness of the people. And therefore, you will need to educate and sensitize them that this time around, pension is for all, whether you are in the formal or the informal sector. So it is one very strong area that we are concentrating on. And indeed, most of the schemes that we have encouraged and registered are in the informal sector. So we are very, very deeply involved in the informal sector. Yes, it is a challenging area, because in terms of penetration, people work on individualized basis, and therefore you have to approach them individually. It is also very difficult for people in the informal sector to leave their shops, their markets, to come to a sensitization center or to come to MPRA for that matter. So you have to take the education to where they are. So we have a system in place which we call the market activation, that our team will go to the marketplace, to the shops, to the very, very areas of their operation and educate and sensitize them. We've been across the country, and the emphasis is on informal sector. So our education and sensitization program targets these people where they work, in places where we can get their attention. I would like to appeal to our informal sector workers. The misconception that pension is only for the formal sector is a thing of the past.
It's clear that most of these informal sector workers seem not to have much knowledge when it comes to pension plans. Some are yet to plan, but the National Pension Regulatory Authority seem to have some plans to incorporate these informal sector workers into their day-to-day activity. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
All right. Also in the news tonight, the University of Energy and Natural Resources has partnered with the Bochum University of Applied Science and Solar Taxi to outdoor e-motorbikes in Sunyani in the Bono region. The e-micromobility in Ghana project is expected to help reduce climate change. Engineer Dr. Eric Entiofosu, a senior lecturer at the UENR and the regional director of Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, said a makerspace as part of the project would help build their capacity to convert existing fossil fuel motorbikes into electric motorbikes, as well as create jobs. Precious Semevo has more.
The e-micromobility in Ghana project, funded by the German government, is aimed at reducing climate change and carbon emissions with a more sustainable, energy-friendly mode of transportation. The outdooring of the e-motorbikes follows a memorandum of understanding signed between the partners during a kick-off workshop in April 2021 in Sunyani. The bikes, which are without chains, are also fitted with battery packs and meters that indicate battery usage, among other features, and will be charged at designated charging stations. Engineer Dr. Eric Entiofosu is a senior lecturer at UNE and the regional director of the Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability.
Now, these three motorbikes, one of them was transformed from the fossil fuel motorbike to an electric motorbike here in Ghana by Solar Taxi. Then the other two are originally designed as e-scooters. So we are going to put these three bikes on campus to test run them and use them. They will serve as opportunities for us to also conduct research on them in terms of how much they are contributing and their efficiency with respect to our climate, our system of use. Now, with a space of about 3,500 square meters, and this maker house is going to be used to train our students. We're going to train a lot of youth in Ghana so that they will have that capacity to be able to do this. So we want to use this phase to look at the economic side, the value addition.
Arnold Anochi Amuatin, Northern Sector Operations Manager of Solar Taxi, said the technology is environmentally friendly and less expensive to operate.
When it comes to the front of climate change, you realize that using the fuel-powered vehicles or motorbikes, for every kilometer that you travel, you pollute the environment by 95 or 96 to 98 grams of carbon. But if you compare that with that of electric vehicles, it is lesser than 5 grams. If you are comparing the operationalization of electric bikes to that of fuel bike over a 10-year period, you incur something around 12,000 cedis. If you compare that to fuel bike, that's at the minimum side around 43,000, 45,000 at the end of the 10 years. So it tells you that electric bikes are quite economical and environmentally friendly.
A researcher with the Bochum University of Applied Science, Fred Ejei, hopes a conversation to move beyond research into commercial e-motorbikes operations will kickstart.
Our initial focus is on the converted motorbike, and we hope that we'll be able to create a commercial version that would be deployed in Ghanaian society and act as a substitute or an alternative to traditional mobility. This is the hope that we have. In the future, we want to move beyond research to actually go into commercial operation, or we want to see businesses that are active in the sector in e-mobility, not just e-mopeds, not just motorbikes, e-vehicles, e-buses. We want to be able to kickstart that kind of conversation to have that kind of vibrant economy.
Precious Semevo, JoyNews, Sunyani.
And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. But there's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. There you go. Our top story: 2022 budget, tax measures good, but concerns must be addressed. That's according to Deloitte. And so thanks for watching, everyone. We are back same time tomorrow.